Hello, everybody. Your broskies are diving right back into Power 5 positional battles. And this time, we're chopping it up Big East style. Which players have the gold medal and have locked in their place in the starting five? And which players are fighting for a place on the medal stand and one of those spots when the game begins? Let's find out right now. Recording live from somewhere. This is One and Done.
Get out the insurance cards, get out the copays. The office is open, my friends. Brought to you by drroto.com.
It's time once again for everybody to come aboard that green screens media train. Welcome. Bienvenidos a todos to One and Done. One and Done, your fast break of college basketball information. We are powered, as you saw in that intro, by the world, dare I say, the universe's greatest website, and that would be drroto.com. I'm your humble host, well, sometimes humble. My name is Jay Heinrich, and I happen to be the old conductor of the aforementioned Green Screens Media Train. Find me on X at Dr. William Cannon. Follow me, and I will smash that follow back button. But enough about me. Let's get right to one and two of the absolute best in the business to do it today, starting with that man we all know him around these parts as El Capitan himself. That's right, he is the captain of the Green Screens Media ship. Follow him on X, NMC Holland 34. That's the OG Money Mike, Mr. Mike Holland. Mike, what it do?
After a 3-week hiatus, we are back strong 2 out of the last 3 nights now. So, it's going to start picking up. We're in August, fellas. We are not that far away from the season. So much content about to come out. We are working on our conference preview shows. That was a lot of fun last year. Can't wait to do that. We have our top 20 countdown that we'll be dropping as well. So a lot of stuff coming, and I am excited and ready to do it all.
Of course you are. You are the captain, after all. You're the captain. I'm the conductor. And you see another person on your screen right there. He might be last in the intros, broskies and broskets, but you bet your bottom dollar that he is first in your hearts, in los corazones. He's the Baron of Bread of Green Screens Media. Find him in those Twitter streets at Fantasy Nav. He's Eric the Blue. Mr. Eric Romoff. Eric, what's up, man?
Man, we out here doing it again, like Mike said, 2 out of the last 3 nights. The now aforementioned last time that we were out here, we were doing this exact same thing, talking about positional battles, but not the Big East, which we'll cover tonight. Last time we were out here, we were talking about the ACC, and there are some hotly contested battles as to which players are going to make the starting lineups for Duke, for UNC. So we're definitely making sure that we're going to run that same formula back here tonight. And if you haven't checked out that ACC positional battle show, hop back over on YouTube. It's there. It's waiting for you. It is pure gold. So stick with us tonight. And if you want to get a little recap on the ACC, hit that button right when this show wraps.
Do it. Just smash it. Don't give yourself, like, I got cracks in my phone screen, but don't hit your phone so hard that you do that. If you watch it on your phone, your mobile device, just tap it. Boom. Smash it, tap it, whatever you got to do. Hit those buttons, notification bell as well, so you don't miss any of our college basketball coverage. Over 1,100 subs at this point. Thank you so much, Green Screens Media Universe, for doing your part. We appreciate you. We appreciate everybody that hangs out here with us. Make sure if you're watching, you're hanging out with us, get in that live chat. Say what's up. Hey, my team's the best. You stink. This is great. Kadari Richmond is the best player in the conference. Whatever you want to do.
Eric has the best takes.
Yeah, Eric is not tepid with his takes at all. You can put that in there. You could drop that in. Fire emojis. We appreciate those as well. Yeah, like if our guy at the Real Napier is watching, he might drop one in. Our guy Nate C. Hustle that sits in this host chair every once in a while with us and will also be featured on the top 20 countdown that Mike mentioned earlier at One and Done CBB on X, at One and Done CBB on TikTok is where you're going to be able to find that top 20 countdown. You'll find it here on YouTube as well on the shorts. So make sure you got all those buttons pushed so you don't miss any of it, because we ain't slowing down. We're just picking up steam on that Green Screens Media Train headed to opening night. But before then, of course, what do you say we talk a little Big East? Positional battles in the Big East. Let's go ahead and start with the Johnnies. St. John's last year finished 20-13 overall, 11-9 in the conference. That was just enough to get their old bubble burst and miss the NCAA tournament. Did finish 21st in the country on KenPom, which sort of left a lot of people scratching their heads as to why their resume wasn't good enough. But hey, they didn't do it. They didn't make it. And now they're going into a season where they lost a majority of their minutes in scoring, but also have a big-time portal haul as well. Their Torvik preseason outlook is very optimistic, ranked 15th in the country with a projected record of 22-8. So here on One and Done, the projected starters who we feel like are absolutely locked in: Davon Smith, the 6-foot Utah transfer, in one spot in the backcourt. And then, of course, Kadaria Richmond, the 6'6 Seton Hall transfer, did big things over there for the Pirates, of course. So who are the starters going to be, gents, around Smith and Richmond? We got 4 here, maybe. This is tough because we got some big men we could get to here. All right, let's start with these 4 first. Simeon Wilcher, 6'4" sophomore guard. RJ Lewis, the 6'7" wingman, 21 minutes per last season, averaged 11 points per game and 4.5 boards in just 21 minutes. So you got to figure he's going to play big minutes regardless for this team with as much as they have lost. Aaron Scott, also 6'7", the North Texas transfer, played big minutes for the Mean Green over there, 30 minutes per, 11 points per game, 5.5 boards, and shot 37% from 3. Brady Dunlap, also sophomore, 12 minutes per, 3 points per game, did shoot 42% from 3. Starting big man, okay, we got one spot there at the 5, so we got either Zubi Ejiofor, the 6'9 junior, averaged 4 points, 3 boards for them last season, and then Vince Iwuchukwu averaged 5.5 points and 3.8 rebounds per. And the most important thing to me anyway is that he's 7'1". And you know what, broskies and broskets, you can't teach that. Eric, I'll start with you. I gave you a lot of players there, a lot to go off of. So who do you want to go with first? And how are you attacking how this lineup is going to fill out?
Yeah, let's break this down in chunks. I'll start with the big men here. Look, Vince Iwuchukwu comes in as a highly touted recruit. Didn't exactly live up to those expectations with his time at USC. But even with that being the case, I kind of think we have to largely pencil in Ejiofor here as the player that starts, just based on what he was able to do last year, right? Like, Pitino got to a point where he really realized that Ejiofor was the better option defensively than Soriano, even started him a few games, right? So he's familiar with the system. He's built a bit of equity with Coach Pitino. And as good as Soriano was offensively, I think we see better production on the defensive side, not only from Ejiofor, but from the combination of him along with Iwuchukwu, right? So over the course of the season, I could see it getting pretty close to an even split, right? If I had to put my money on it, I would say Ejiofor probably is on the better side of that, 55, 60% of the minutes out of that 5 spot. Given the familiarity with the system, you have to think that Pitino starts the year with Ejiofor there as there in the starting front court. So, if that's filling one of these 3 open spots. Mike, over to you. We've got Smith, we've got Richmond, we've got Ejiofor, all penciled in. What about these 2 spots to fill next to them?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think, kind of a starter by name, right? Ejiofor and Wuchukwu probably getting to maybe that 50-50, but who knows? If Ejiofor flashed a lot, maybe he can get up to a 70-30 for sure. So that's something to watch. But yeah, it's these other two spots, right? Like, it's kind of like what fits with Smith and Richmond. And, with Davon Smith, like, he's an all-world guy, like, can three-level scorer, triple-double machine at the end of the year last year. Kind of the same thing with Kadari Richmond, but better on the defensive end. Has more size. He's 6'6" versus a 6-foot Smith. Both guys can handle the ball. He's a facilitator, not a great outside shooter. So, these other guys that we kind of mentioned here, Jay, Wilcher, Lewis, Scott, Dunlap, like these guys are going to be fighting it out here. Really, it just depends on what Pitino wants this front, these first five to look like. I mean, Jay, I know you're bullish on Scott, 3-and-D guy, right? So, good size, 6'7". Lewis, I think, he's been in the system. It was kind of an up and down year last year, more of an offensive threat and kind of a slasher, not really a three-point shooter. Dunlap, as your stretch forward, can really knock down some shots. Has a little more size than these other guys here. But Wilcher is kind of the name I'm looking at, guys. I mean, big-time recruit last offseason, can really score the ball. I think with Richmond's size, you can probably shift him over to either a third guard or even almost a wing type player. Wilcher's not a primary ball handler, so you can slot him on the wing too, even though he's 6'2", right? Kadari Richmond's versatility with his size and the ability to handle the ball is just so valuable. I think you need to put shooting around Richmond. So I do like Wilcher there with Wuchukwu and Ejiofor able to provide that defense at the 5. I think it's actually pretty easy to start Wilcher. Dunlap's probably on the outside looking in, but Eric, like RJ Luis and Aaron Scott here, I feel like they're going to be battling it out here at this forward spot. This maybe I would call it a stretch forward. RJ Lewis, maybe not the best 3-point shooter, but it looks like they're going to be battling it out for that final 4-man spot. What you got?
Yeah, and it's going to come down to the wire, right? I think this is going to be a battle to watch very closely as we get closer to the tip-off of the regular season. Look, if you wanted to do kind of a post-mortem on last year, very clearly Coach Pitino is going to make defense a priority, right? That was something that very much so hindered them in their case to make the tournament last year. So wouldn't be surprised at all if he makes that a point of emphasis as we head into the new year. And it doesn't feel like you have enough shooting if you start both of these guys. So it's definitely going to be a binary one or the other. We look at the players we've already put in, Richmond not being much of a shooter, having Luis out there with him seems like it would be kind of detrimental to spacing, right? Scott, on the other hand, bit more of a classic 3-and-D wing stretch 4 type, right? So I think he's probably the more organic fit for what we project Coach Pitino to want to do. But regardless of whether or not Scott starts, he's going to have a role, right? Like if he's not in this starting lineup, he's probably going to be one of those X factors off the bench for this team. But I think we do see something along the lines of Smith, Wilcher, Richmond, Scott, and Ejiofor to start, but a rotation that I think that we can see, or at least project Coach Pitino to kind of tinker with over the course of the year.
I think it's important also to mention that all 8 of these guys are going to be in the rotation, right? Like,
yeah, no doubt.
All of them are going to play meaningful minutes. It's just a matter of who's going to start, who's going to be the guy to come off the bench. Like, yeah, Mike, you're right. I do like Scott. I do like Aaron Scott a lot. Is he going to play 30 minutes here? I don't think so. But you know what you can get out of him, and if he can just get out there and 37% from 3, that'll work. I mean, get up and down the floor a little bit, make some shots in transition, play a little defense. He's going to play meaningful minutes for sure. All these guys are, so yeah. We'll see how that goes.
If Aaron Scott, if Aaron Scott's forced to play 30 minutes, I think that's a great thing for St. John's, because that means that he is handling business at that 4 spot. He's stretching the floor. He's giving you the defense that you want. So yeah, man, I know you're excited about him. I'm very excited about him. I think RJ Luis has a little bit in the tank that we haven't seen yet, right? Coming over as a transfer, getting used to the Big East play. But like you said, Jay, like 7-8 guys, right? They're all going to get in the rotation. Obviously, Smith and Richmond are going to play basically the entire game. But Eric, as we kind of circle back to lock in what we project to be the starting lineup here, I think you're spot on with what you said. I think we go Smith, Wilcher, Richmond, Scott, and Ejiofor. I think that's probably the best case scenario for a starting team that fits, has the continuity, has the spacing, also has the defense, right? Like Richmond, Scott, Ejiofor, all really good defensive players, and Wilcher brings that shooting. So, yeah, absolutely love it for St. John's.
Not about it. Good stuff there. Graphics department's always on fire. Look at that good stuff right there. Serving it up for you. The Green Screens Media Universe, I know, appreciates that. Drop a comment in the live chat or in the comments, if you will, if you like the graphics, if you want to see something else from us too. What would you like to see on One and Done? Let us know in the live chat, in the comments, if you're not watching live, if you're watching later. And also make sure you hit those like and subscribe buttons. Almost up to 1,110. Who can get there? It's a lot of. Let's see if we can get to 1,111.
It would be sick if we could hit 11 to 11 tonight.
11.
Get a little good luck number to close out the week.
Make a wish. Make a wish indeed. Hit those buttons for us. We appreciate you. A One and Done After Dark. If you're watching live with us, we're approaching tomorrow time in Big East country. So we appreciate it if you're watching live with us. And if you're not, we appreciate you as well. If you're going to talk Big East, don't think you can do it without talking UConn.
Facts.
Don't know if you heard about them. They're good. And also, their coach turned down the Los Angeles Lakers. So
who's that? Who are the Lakers? Is that that play-in team?
Yeah, who's that? Yeah. Mickey Mouse ring in a bubble. What? Couldn't be. Not me.
Excuse me. Isn't that in-season tournament champion the Los Angeles Lakers?
Oh, that is right.
Hanging banners last year,
trying to
catch disrespect.
Hang it up. But hang it up indeed is what Dan Hurley did. He hung up the phone and stayed at UConn after winning back-to-back national championships. 37-3 and 18-2 in this conference. Obviously finished number one in Ken Pom, and also obviously lost a lot of talent to the NBA. Returning a few key pieces to go with that budding sophomore class. Big experience last year. Solid portal haul, as you would, of course, expect. Dan Hurley to get another very sunny outlook by the Torvik preseason rankings anyway. Ranked 12th in the country with a projected 16-8 record. Of course, if that sounds a little bit light, Jay, only 16-8. Those are the games that they have on the schedule that we can look at right now and count. So we'll see. We will see. 12th, Mike. Is that about where you sort of have UConn in your mind? Then?
I mean, in our power rankings, they're a top 10 team, but that's a collection of thoughts there. My thoughts are that this team is going to have a hard time winning 3 in a row, gentlemen. That's been my take. I will die on this hill, Jay.
I say a sunny outlook. Obviously, there's a lot of programs that would love to be ranked 12th at anything. This is UConn, like sunny in terms of being up there, and sunny in terms of where you're coming from, Mike. This could be worse than that, regardless of Dan Hurley and the great job that he's done there. Let's talk about the ones who we over here at One and Done have locked in. That's Hassan Diarra, Aiden Mahaney, and Alex Caravan. So as you can see there, on whatever device you are using to take in this high-quality college basketball show, that there's a wing spot available, and then the old big man, the old C for center. So starter on the wing, we got a few options here. Liam McNeely, Jalen Stewart, and Solo Ball. And then at the 5, Eric, we got Samson Johnson and Terrace Reed. So I'll give you the option again. How do you want to start with this? How are you going to approach filling in the blanks in this starting 5?
Yeah, started out with the big men last time around. I'll switch over to the wing to kick us off for these UConn Huskies. I think this battle is going to be fierce, right? Like Liam McNeely, lethal scorer, by many people's accounts, one of the best shooter coming out of the high school ranks this year. You've got Jalen Stewart over there. He's got that size strength combo. Love what he showed in his limited glimpses last year. And then Solo Ball, another playmaker, a guy that's starting to get steamed up this offseason as well. So this one should come down to the wire, trying to parse it out. I'll set Solo Ball to the side for a second, right? Where we want to take a look at this backcourt. You've got Diarra, you've got Mahaney, a little bit undersized, right? So it probably makes sense to start with guys that are a little bit larger, guys like McNeely and like Stewart. Between these two, the battle's really going to play out over the course of camp, right? Whoever doesn't end up getting the nod to start in the rotation is probably going to be a pretty key piece for them as they look for size off the bench. And then, Ball, while he might not, check the size box, he can continue to impress, and maybe we see him push whichever one of these guys doesn't get the starting nod to be one of the focal points coming in the later part of the rotation. So, we're looking at one that should really come down to the wire. But where we sit right now in the early part of August, I would err on the side of Coach Hurley looking for a little bit more size out of this spot, and that makes the decision pretty clearly between McNeely and Stewart.
Yeah, so I mean, like looking at the backcourt, right? Like Diarra kind of been that super six man, right? Last year, and then was a rotational bench piece. So that is probably his position to have at that point guard spot. Aiden Mahaney, obviously coming over from St. Mary's, we know what he can do, what he did in an offense that it's not the Dan Hurley, running around catching, shooting threes, things like that. So I'm looking for him to be pretty productive. I don't know, man. Jalen Stewart to me is like one of my favorite players, and a guy that we're going to have on our breakout list, right? Just going to give you that bulk defensively. These guys are going to be able to shoot. Mahaney can shoot. Caravan, obviously a great shooter. So I don't really see any problems with UConn being able to shoot from the outside. But to me, it feels like Jalen Stewart's just kind of ready to be that guy. He showed flashes of it. I think Ball could give Diarra a run, push him back to that 6-man role. We'll kind of see how that plays out in camp. McNeely, though, clearly going to make it hard on Hurley to keep out of his starting lineup with just the way that he's able to score the ball. It's a free-flowing offense, and that's basically where McNeely will thrive, which is the reason why he's not going to Indiana. We kind of saw what happened with Mbako and just kind of how that roster is looking right now. UConn might not have the star power that it had last year, which is why I say down, right? Down is a top 10, 12, 15 team, right? That's when you've won back-to-back national titles, like I said, Jay, like it's kind of hard to, call that a down year, but that's kind of what you're staring at with these expectations this high. Newton, Castle, Klingon, Spencer, those guys were all gone, and Hurley's obviously still the coach there. Yeah, man, like I'm kind of like Liam McNeely for that wing spot, just offensively and just with his size. Even though Jalen Stewart is a guy that I think that's going to make it really, really hard on Hurley as well. So at that 5 spot, Eric, you got the 2 guys there, man. Like Samson Johnson's kind of waited his turn, and Terrace Reed comes in from Michigan, a former top recruit. Man, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I will co-sign on McNeely taking that wing spot at least to start the season. So we now have to make sense of the 5 spot. Samson Johnson, like you mentioned, a player that flashed at times, that has been in the system and waiting for his turn. He'll start almost exclusively, or at least with a heavy weighting towards defensive prowess, right? And the fact that he has been in this program and he knows what Coach Hurley wants to run out there. Regardless, both him and Reed are looking at, a classic Hurley timeshare at the 5. This has been kind of a staple of his rotation over these last few years, and a last few years that have worked out pretty well for UConn and for Coach Hurley.
Just a little bit.
don't know if he's going to go out of his way to change his stripes in that regard. Overall, Terrace Reed coming in from Michigan is a much better offensive option. But you look at Johnson's defense, I think it just fits better with this first unit, kind of balances them out a little bit more. So I would give the edge ever so slightly to Samson Johnson to get the nod as the starting 5 at the beginning of the season.
Here's the deal. A few things. I I got to see it from Ball first. Like I get that there's a lot of hype this offseason. Like I don't want to even say like that. I feel like he's going to be this just huge rotational piece yet. Like I'm going to need a little bit more. I got to see a little bit more here. But there's a little bit of smoke, and usually where there's smoke, there's some kind of fire for sure. So we'll see what goes on there with Ball. I could see McNeely there for sure. But here's the thing: Johnson starting makes a lot of sense. I get that.
Yeah, no doubt.
Reed coming off the bench and being able to run up and down against the other team's second big and be able to, to not have to worry as much about his the defensive skills that might be a little bit on the lacking side, especially compared to Johnson, that's okay. There's a lot of bigs that don't defend as well as Samson Johnson. That's okay. But I think that this is like the ultimate sort of timeshare. And if both of these bigs can stay healthy, they're at different times and different matchups. I think Reed will start. I think it's going to happen. But if they're both healthy, they're going to be equally as important to the success of this team, just as much so as the backcourt. But I believe a lot. I believe in Diarra. I think he's going to take control of this team and make it his own. And I think that'll say a lot. I think how Diarra goes, if Diarra has that, all-conference type season, then everything went right for UConn. And that's exactly what Dan Hurley needs out of this, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If Diarra has the season that, it's been, we've seen it in the 6-man role when he comes on. We watched it all last year. It's like, oh man, like this guy right here, he can do some big things, but now he's just taking on an entirely new, we'll see how he does kind of filling in for Tristan Newton there.
Yeah, that's big shoes to fill. And he doesn't have to be like first team all-conference. He doesn't have to be like all-world. He's got to be really good. Just be really good.
Yeah.
Take care of the ball. Be really good.
So, Eric,
that's
what do you
got to do? So, I mean, like top five. Starting five, I should say here. Sounds like we locked in. We have Diarra, obviously, and Mahaney. And then we're going McNeely, Caravan, and Johnson. Right?
We gotta have Johnson in there, man.
I think we gotta have Johnson in there.
I think it's a 50-50 though. Like honestly, in camp, it's probably gonna be a coin flip because I could also see Samson Johnson was kind of like Diarra. He thrived the last year and backing up Donovan Clingan, right? So we'll see. Like if Jalen Stewart starts at the wing, I could see Terrace Reed because Jalen Stewart can give you a little bit more defensively. I see Terrace Reed being the starting center. And McNeely kind of fits a little bit better with Johnson. So, there's a lot of pieces to play with there, man. There's just a lot of talent that went out the door.
Yeah,
well, that's an important reframe too, right? We're talking about what we project to be the starting roster at the beginning of the season, right? Based on what we know of this lineup, of the coaches' tendencies. All coaches play with their roster, but I think that this 5 could really come together and help the Huskies get off to the right start on the new season.
No doubt about it. Diarra, Mahaney, McNeely, Caravan, and Johnson. Well, beginning of August here, taking a shot at this. Why not?
Why not?
Why not? What else are we going to do? We know what else are you going to do? Oh, no, you're hanging out with us on YouTube. We appreciate that. Make sure you hit those buttons so you can hang out with us more. And then you can hop in the live chat. And then you can drop some emojis in there. You can hit all those buttons. Hit the notification bell. Do your thing. Do your part in the Green Screens Media universe. We would appreciate that. Why don't you hop in the live chat? So show some love to our guy Eric the Blue over there, dropping the fire graphic. Show him some love. At Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets. You can find him over there in the hot yoga barn that he's got over there.
In the hot box back
that
here.
He's cooking over there doing half the yoga.
Dude, who doesn't like getting a little schwitz with their college basketball,
Well, I personally
gets the blood flowing.
I personally appreciate the oscillating fan that's not too far from me right now. But I get it. No, I think
I got these hot basketball takes just oozing out of my pores as we speak.
Yeah, there's something, but I don't know what that is oozing, but we'll figure that out later on. Anyways, make sure you hit those buttons. Show us some love. We'll show you some love if you hop in the live chat or the comment section for sure. One more team here in the Big East we'd like to break down tonight. You had we missed the tournament. We won the national championship. And okay, now we missed the tournament again. We're going back. We're going to Xavier, the X-Men. finished 56th in Ken Palm with a 16-18 overall record, 9-11 in this conference. Finishing 56th in Ken Palm with that kind of record, that lets you know that Big East basketball is not a joke. On top of all that, they lost the majority of the roster, but like most programs have had to do on a year in and year out basis, are going to rely on a big time portal haul and the return of some key players. It just happens to be Zach Freemantle and Jerome Hunter.
Oh, they're pretty good.
Like, are those guys good? Yes, of course they are. So all of these teams, guys, it feels like the ones that are going to take that next step, or the ones that maybe fell back a little bit and are going to rebound, are returning a couple of big names and hit the portal hard, and they're going to have players that are going to have to step into new roles. Xavier fits the bill for sure. Torvik has them 37th in the country preseason with a 19-11 projected record, which, I was going to say, man, like that puts them right there on the old Buble, if you will. So who do we feel like is already locked in? We're going to say Davion McKnight, Zach Freemantle, and our guy Lassina Traore. Right there. McKnight, Freemantle, and Traore. The three that one and done right here on your favorite college basketball show, one and done. We feel like they're locked in. So we've got some options here. Starting backcourt to go with McKnight, guard, wing, whatever you want to slap it down there on the court with. And depending on who it is.
Positionless.
I was going to say it's free flowing.
Absolutely.
And these coaches like to make these lineups like make me sweat like Eric in the hot box, make me water like a fluid starting lineup. We're writing bangers over here right now. So we got some options to go with. McKnight, Ryan Conwell, transfer in from Indiana State, who obviously they had a nice run. A Cinderella story to the NIT in the NIT last year. Everybody's favorite team to miss the tournament. 34 minutes a game for Indiana State, 16.6 points, 2.5 dimes, and 41% from behind the arc. Another transfer, Dante Maddox, another senior transfer. This one's 6'2", and averaged 15.5 points, 2.5 dimes, and shot 40% from three. Marcus Foster. Oh, wait, another transfer. We talked about that big portal haul. We were not joking. Marcus Foster included. Oh, wait, another senior as well, 6'4", played 31 minutes for Furman per last year, 17 points, 7.5 rebounds, shot under the Heinrich line. That is 35%, which is what I kind of need you to do to be. That's the Heinrich line, 35%. Shot 30% did Marcus Foster. Mike, I'm going to come to you first there. A lot of points and a lot of minutes played last season that are not going to transfer directly over into Big East basketball and to this Xavier program. But they've obviously done it at a high level. They've been leaders on their respective teams, and now they're coming in to this Musketeer lineup and looking for a place to play and improve. Mike, come to you first here. What do you think is going to happen here? How's this going to shake out? And it does sort of feel like that there's not really a wrong decision here, I don't think, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is three really good guards. Put Foster maybe in the wing conversation here. It really doesn't matter. Like Coach Melody wants to roll with that three guard, high tempo look. I mean, he's done it for his first 2 years. Back at the helm here, last year was McKnight, Claude, Olivari. We know how fun that backcourt was. The year before, it was a Sweet 16 team, team that Texas knocked out. It was Sully Boom, Adam Kunkel, Colby Jones. McKnight's obviously back, and he shot 37% from three and handed out nearly 5 dimes a game. So you figured he is PG1. So you need to figure out what you want to fit around him. Do you want to go with Conwell, Maddox, Foster? Pretty much locking in Freemantle. We think Traore or Hunter, depending on Hunter's coming off of 2 injuries. Kind of ridiculous, but if he's 80%, he's still going to be a very good player in the Big East here. So, both of these guys are back. I think that's going to help the guards. That's kind of the one thing that kind of hurt Xavier last year. Obviously, missing those two guys, those are quality pieces. But for me, Jay, I mean, it feels like Foster is going to be used in a 6-man role. I feel like the fit is kind of weird. You mentioned Conwell and Maddox, like these guys shot 40+% on high volume from the 3-point line, and Marcus Foster shot 29, basically 30% from 3. So it's kind of hard for me to picture when Sean Miller wants to get up and down. He wants playmakers and he wants guys that can shoot 3. That's how they got to the Sweet 16. Last year, Desmond Claude was one of those 3 guards, and he shot sub 30% from 3. So it kind of feels like to me that Marcus Foster, if he slots into that role that Claude had, you're kind of dealing with the same thing. It's not going to really – I don't know. For me, it's just not really going to work out. And also, like, you have Trey Green that's there. He's a really good shooter. Flashed last year as a freshman. He's going to his sophomore year. So I could see maybe a world where Foster gets passed up by a Trey Green, even though this is a guy that played for a very good Furman team, averaged 31 minutes and 17 points, crazy, almost 8 rebounds for a guard. But Eric, like that's how I'm feeling, man. I feel like Conwell and Maddox around McKnight, even though it's maybe a little bit smaller, Traore, a bigger guy, man. What are your thoughts on these options to go around McKnight and these guys?
Yeah, I think I'm right there with you in terms of Conwell starting, but I'm gonna push back on Foster in the year that he had last year, right? Yes, he had a down year shooting from 3, right? Technically even lower than 30%, 29.7% from downtown. But in the prior 2 years, he was shooting 36% on average, and those were games where he was playing 23 to 29 minutes, right? He wasn't out there just taking a couple of shots from downtown. He was filling it up. For me, he's more of a natural fit next to these other 2 because he plays a little bit bigger than his size. He's one of the top rebounding guards. I mean, arguably one of the best, if not the best in the country. But you're right. If he gives you Claude type numbers from the 3, the offense just won't work, right? So it's kind of a head scratcher of a spot, but I don't think that at this point you can categorically write Foster off, right? For me, if we're in agreement that Conwell's in there, the real battle is going to be between Foster and Maddox for that final spot. And I don't know if I can really settle on either of them. Mike, what do you think between these 2? If we agree on Conwell,
so you're saying what Jay's telling me that I'm falling into recency bias here with
that's what it sounds like.
I mean, what if he shoots 30% again? I mean, look, I think the thing with Foster, I don't mind that argument, but he's not a guy that facilitates. And when you look at basically what has been run out there for the last 2 years, it's guys that can create as well. Like Foster's career assist number, 1.2. So not really a guy. The ball kind of sticks. He wants to get his shots. He play a lot in the paint, right? He's a 6'4" guard that averaged 7.5 rebounds. Like that's absolutely crazy. Miller's first 2 years, top 20 in assist rate both years. And it feels like, even if Foster creeps up to that 30, that Heinrich line there, that 35%, if he's not able to move the ball, I don't know that he can really find himself into more than a 20-minute, off the bench, maybe foul trouble, obviously spelling, McKnight, Maddox, Conwell. So I'm sorry, Jay. I feel like you have to break the tie here, man. I think we have Conwell, McKnight, Fremantle, and Traore, man. Are we? Who are we going with? This almost feels like you're breaking the tie here between us. What do you got?
Well, I mean, we're gonna have to go. Yeah, we got McKnight. It's probably going to be Maddox.
Boom.
McKnight, Maddox, Conwell, Fremantle, and you could go Traore or Hunter. I lean more for Hunter. I think maybe the overall feeling in these parts may be Traore. I think you could really toss a coin there. I think we got to give Jerome Hunter a little bit more love than we have.
I got to see it, Jay. I got to see
it.
I got to see the full health, baby.
Hey, I can get down with that. I can get down with that for Sure. So, all right, let's go. McKnight, Maddox, Conwell, Fremantle, Traore, and then we'll see it from Hunter. Okay, we'll see it from Hunter. We will see it just like we see Kalen in the chat, right in the vein.
Man, that's been a while. Let's
go.
School.
That's old school. One of the OGs in the comment section of Green Screens Media. Kalen hangs around with us, especially during our DFS shows.
Right around this time every year. Oh, my God.
This time every year we get in for our previews and everything like that, and we see Kalen hanging out. We hope to see you back a ton all off season, and then as we get into some of our in-season stuff with DFS shows and all the rest of the content, we're going to be putting out our weekly show, just sort of breaking down what's been going on in the world of college basketball. You don't want to go too far from one and done ever in no Green Screens Media. So make sure you hit those buttons like Kalen has. Kalen, salute. Much appreciated. Kalen. Always to see you in the chat for sure. Hit those buttons. Hit that notification bell. Ladies and gents, broskies and broskettes. Good stuff there in the Big East. 3 teams that have a chance to do something big. At UConn, I don't know, guys. UConn's a Sweet 16 team to me. Is that about right for you?
Yeah.
I think that sounds about right.
Recency bias got me with Foster. It's not going to get me with UConn, though.
I mean, to say anyone's going to three-peat is just kind of an insane statement to make out loud.
What would the odds be 2 years ago if –
Oh, my God. You'd be living on a private island if you're holding that ticket right now.
Seriously.
Cash out alone would be insane.
I was going to say cash out by itself would be
cash out halfway through this year. Yeah.
That'd be good stuff. All right, thanks for hanging out with us, everybody. Thanks to 2 of the best in the business to do it. That includes El Capitan himself at MC Holland 34. That's Mr. Mike Holland. Then, of course, at Fantasy Nav in those Twitter streets. He's the Baron of Bread of Green Screens Media, Mr. Eric Romoff. My name is Jay Heinrich. I happen to be the conductor of this whole damn thing, this Green Screens Media train rumbling down the tracks. Better believe it. And you better believe that we are keeping the content rolling. Going to roll through a bunch of Power 5 conference. The rest of these, the bunch of them. There's 3 more. Power 5. There's 5. There's literally 5. It says it in the name, 5.
Well, you never know in college because, those Big Ten has got 47
20,000
Big Ten's got the whole map covered.
The 90-second scroll on their website to see all the logos. Believe it. Believe it. It's true. Go do it. You'll see. Go to the Big Ten website. Just go to the logos and it's for days. You might want to plug in your phone because you're gonna need. Unless you got that Mophie life like Mike used to have on the cell phones back in the day. If you live that life, you're set. But yeah, anyways, good stuff there. He's still on that Mophie life. Of course he is.
Dude, Mike had that Gen 1 Mophie. That thing had a hand crank on it.
That's the one that Moses used to charge right next to his beeper, I think. That's how old that thing is for sure. Make sure you follow us at One and Done CBB on X and on TikTok. We're about to drop that top 20 player countdown at Napesy Hustle, or our guy Napesy Hustle at The Real Napier on X is going to be in there with me. Once I finally figure out how to do a few of those, we're going to get some running and on the socials for you. We appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out with us. As always, make sure you take care of yourself. Tell somebody you love them. Get over to drroto.com. Bunch of good stuff over there leading into the fantasy football season. Mike's got content. Eric's got content. I'll have some content in season, maybe some preseason stuff. We'll see how it goes. But get over there. Follow your boys. drroto.com. One and Done. Green Screens Media. We out here. Let's get this bread, baby. Chew.
Thanks for stopping by the office. Get your fantasy prescription by subscribing to the channel and checking out drroto.com. And until the next visit, be well and take care.